some friends of mine in Hawaii. They were trying to teach similar things to what we've been doing in this course, and they gave up on everything except for self-connection and pushing the pause button, which is what we're about to look at here, because they found that everyone who they were working with just kept saying, I can never remember any MVC in the moment. So they just said, well, okay, let's teach you how to use MVC between moments, and let's help you to get out of those conversations before they get too fierce. Is that open for anyone to push the pause button that I've just put into the chat? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay, great. And I'm going to put this on the screen too. And we're going to demo this together, right, Lisa? So we just want you to do a little exercise in pausing a conversation. I'll explain a little bit more why as we go along. Decide who's the first pauser. I'm going to be the first and only pauser because we'll only do it in one direction for demonstration. And who is the other person in this fight or argument? The other person is going to be Lisa. Do you want to be Melissa and Simon? If you have your garment to put on. Set up. The other person, played by Lisa, please choose a phrase that someone might speak during a fight. For example, why are you being so, that's stupid, etc. Check with the pauser that they're okay with you using this line. If you want, the pauser can come up with a line actually as well. Do you want to come up with one, Lisa, or shall I come up with one for you to speak to me? I'll come up with one. Okay. So I'm the pauser. I'm not going to speak this line. Lisa's going to speak this line, and I want the line to be you're impossible. It's no wonder all your previous partners broke up with you. Yeah. Only with more viciousness in your tone than that. Okay. So here's the scene. All right. Simon and Melissa have been in a fight for the last 30 minutes. They've been going at it. They both got a copy of your fiery communication choices documents, and they've been using them. They're trying to use as many as they can in a 30-minute period. And then suddenly, Melissa says something that wakes Simon up to the fact that they are both wasting their life energy and their time at this moment. They're doing something that is entirely without point. This is a conversation without listeners. There have been no listeners in this conversation for the whole 30 minutes. They are never getting these minutes back, right? They're creating noise. They're not communicating. They're not resolving anything. They're just deepening the hole that they're in, right? It's a common British, how dare I? It's a common human habit. Obviously not British habit, just humans, all the other humans. No, all the humans have this particular habit, right? Or most of them. So that's what they've been doing. And suddenly, Lisa, as Melissa, is going to speak this line. And then, other person, deliver your line. Pauser. Ask your partner to deliver their line again with more emotional intensity if you want it to give you a realistic reaction in your nervous system. If Lisa says it in too mild a manner and I want her to say it more intensely so I can feel like we've been fighting for the last 30 minutes, then I'll ask her to say it more intensely. We'll see what happens. And then I'm going to ask for a pause as Simon. So I'm donning my Simon hat. Here we go. And if you're able to do the spotlighty thing, Lisa, which I've still not asked you to teach me how to do, then
you would have to stop share. It would kind of like override your share.
Oh, good point. I always forget that. Okay, no problem. So we'll keep the share on the screen. So are you ready as Melissa to deliver the line? Do you need to bundle up?
No, I need to hear the line again.
You're so obnoxious. No, it's impossible to be with you. I can see why all your previous partners broke up with you.
Okay, ready?
Ready? We're 30 minutes in, people, okay? And
it's impossible to be with you. I can really see why all your other partners left you.
Oh. You know, I think that I need to pause the conversation so I can think about this that we've been talking about and figure out why I'm having such a hard time with what you're saying. Editorial on what's happening. I'm giving a reason for why I want to pause. Simon's giving a reason. what needs he's hoping to meet better for himself or for his partner by pausing. We strongly recommend that you say, I want to pause because I, rather than I want to pause because you are so completely obnoxious and awful, right? Doing that is just, you're just kind of sticking the metaphorical knife in before you walk away. It's a really unwise choice. And it's much more NVC way of doing it. I want to pause because I, and it's also for me much more truthful. You don't need to pause because of the other person. If you were the Dalai Lama or Jesus or someone, you wouldn't need to pause. You'd be all beneficent or whatever, and calm and loving. They wouldn't trip you into, unless you were a merchant in the temple or something. So I don't have the capacity. That's the truth. And so I need to pause because I don't have the capacity to deal with this, right? That's the truth. So that's what I'm owning up to in this moment. It might be other things, but for me, that's normally the reason why I need to pause on the occasions when I do. And so I don't want to say, I want to pause because you're so angry about and out of control. I want to say, and I'll repeat my line and continue from it. You know, I think I need to pause so I can think about this and figure out why I'm having such a hard time with what you're saying. And I'm guaranteeing that I'm coming back to the conversation, all right? I know in the past I've tried to just step out and never come back to the conversation, but I'm not wanting to do that anymore. I'm coming back. Let's check in like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something, see if I feel like I can actually come back and hear you, because at the moment I cannot. How does that sound to you?
No, it's, you're also self-centered. This is like, it's all about you, what you need right now. What about what I need? I need to keep talking to you about this. Like, I have to wake up early.
That was Melissa saying no. You can do a Melissa no like that that's improvised and involves a lot of words. You can use the no as a complete sentence approach and just say no. What we want you to do, though, is to say no, okay, to your pauser, because that's what happens in real life a lot of the time. And for lots of reasons. One of them is that when you try and pause a conversation, if the other person's ever had anything in their life that they would describe as rejection, abandonment, or betrayal, all of that comes from their history into their nervous system, and you become all of those people for them in that moment, right? So they're not just saying no to you asking for a pause, they're saying no to lots of other people from history kind of thing. And so that's why we say, I'm guaranteeing that I'm coming back, and then we do come back. And that's why we say, let's say 15 minutes, let's say 20 minutes, let's say after lunch, whatever. You give a time to check in so the person even knows what time until they actually get to interact with you again, at least about whether or not you're ready. So that's what I've just done. And I've still got to know, because that's what happens in real life, right? So now what am I going to do as Simon? I'm going to ask for it again. And this is where this exercise really comes in, and why a lot of people have thanked us for this exercise over the years. Because in real situations, if you don't have the capacity to listen and you stay in the argument, it's just going to get worse, or it's just going to continue, or you dig in a deeper hole, which then you might be able to climb out of later, but you've dug so much more of a deeper hole to climb out of. So as far as I'm concerned, if there's no listeners in a conversation, the wisest thing you can do is pause it and change things so that there's at least one listener. So I'm now going to ask for it again. Here we go. You might use the same wording or different. I hear you saying no and saying I'm just being self-centered. And and I know what's going to happen if we stay in this conversation. I'm not listening to you. I haven't been able to this whole last 30 minutes, and I have no sense of being heard at all. And we've done this routine so many times before. This isn't going to save us any time to continue trying to do this now. I would rather do what we've done a few times recently, go and do some self-connection, calm down, get myself to the place where I can really hear you. It's going to be a good use of time, much more useful than what's going to happen if I stay. And so, and I am coming back. I know in the past I've not done that, but I guarantee that I'm coming back. You can call me out on it if I don't. And let's check in 10 minutes. Let's make it shorter. I'm not saying I'll be ready, but let's at least check in 10 minutes to see if I feel like I can hear you now, So hearing that, does that change your willingness at all?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it'll be more efficient when we come back together. So let's try it.
And there the role play ends. I'm not Simon, I'm your friend and colleague Newt.
I'm not Melissa, I'm your friend and colleague Lisa.
That's all the role play is. One person asks for a pause, you get the initial line, whatever it is. You ask for a pause, you get a no. You ask for a pause, you get a yes. We want you to end on a yes. Don't try and be all like, no, it wouldn't be realistic at this point for me to say yes. No, say yes. For the purposes of the demonstration, we want you to end on an uptick, you know? In real life, it might take more goes or something like that. But this is not a mild situation that they're in. Simon is at the end of his tether. Melissa's probably too. She just doesn't want to stop the conversation. She was already, she's been doing all the fiery stuff for the last 30 minutes too. So that's what we want you to practice doing. And if there's any questions before we